Consumers absolutely hate these types of hidden fees. Most of them think it's a scam because they're being advertised one price, and then when they go to check out online through the Ticketmaster app or on their browser, the price is significantly higher. Or when they show up to check in at a Las Vegas hotel and they're on the strip, they didn't read the fine print, and there's a resort fee that sometimes can be very significant. This is something that consumers don't like. It's a bad consumer experience, and they frankly think it's scammy, but it results in billions and billions of dollars for these companies. That's why they try to add them on.
What's the climate like right now for these add-on fees that we see with tickets?
So there's a few issues here, and let's touch upon them. And I know Kendrick Lamar well because he's from Los Angeles. I just saw him at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. But one very important thing to note about Allegiant Stadium is it is one of the smaller NFL stadiums. So that tends to drive up ticket prices. And you just look at even Super Bowls, for instance. The Super Bowl that we recently had in Las Vegas was significantly more than the Super Bowl shortly before, 2 years before, at SoFi Stadium. Some of it had to do with the teams that were playing. San Francisco tends to bring fans with a lot of money. But whenever you have an event at Allegiant, because it is smaller and because they can't sell as many tickets for that particular stadium, when it's a sold out event, could be the Super Bowl, could be a huge headliner like Kendrick Lamar, that does tend to drive up prices compared to bigger stadiums such as SoFi or the Caesar Superdome in New Orleans.
You're in California. I don't know precisely where you live, but is there consciousness in the market or personally there for you that things are just more expensive in Las Vegas?
Greg, you're probably talking to the best person because not only am I in Los Angeles, we have a very large Las Vegas office on Durango. So we have a large presence there. I'm regularly in Las Vegas. We are not that close to SoFi, but I'm across the street from Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles and pretty close to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. I've spent a lot of time in SoFi and Allegiant. We are the official law firm of UNLV. So I'm very familiar with both stadiums and both cities. And of course, Las Vegas is a very unique market in that when it comes to tickets, especially ticketed events, sometimes it's really the tourists that drive up the prices, not necessarily the locals, depending on the event, of course, which makes it unique in that you have a lot of folks coming from all over the country, all over the world to attend some of these ticketed events, which can drive up prices, notwithstanding the Ticketmasters and other companies of the world that play a role in all that. Look, and some of it is just the difference in consumer protection laws in each state. This is very important to know. So I think the really two things most consumers complain about are what we call the lack of transparency or all-in pricing. That's required by some states like California. They have those laws on the books. Ticketmaster, StubHub, whatever the company is, they need to disclose the total cost, including fees up front. The other thing that a lot of consumers complain about is drip pricing, which is essentially a bait and switch. These companies bait you in on what you believe as the consumer to be a lesser price. And then when you go to check out, it's significantly higher. So we're talking about drip. Drip pricing is a term used to bring in consumers at an artificially lower price and then adding on additional fees on the back end. So their all-in pricing tends to be significantly more, but they're duped, at least initially, to think they're paying significantly less when they're searching or they're being fed advertisements related to ticket prices. There are really two big areas of the law that govern ticket prices. The first is antitrust law, and it's pretty well established that, whether it's Live Nation or Ticketmaster or their relationship, the fact that the event promoters, use the same ticket company or one and the same as the ticket company is potentially anti-competitive. And there's plenty of reporting on the DOJ litigation related to Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The other area that's important to know is consumer protection laws and unfair business practices, false advertising. And really, it's a question of, can these ticket companies falsely advertise their prices, whether it's not all in or whether it's a trip pricing campaign? Those are the areas of the law that can potentially protect consumers from price gouging or anti-competitive or deceptive conduct by Ticketmaster. A double resale fee for the initial sale and the resale is potentially problematic if there's an anti-competitive component. And I'll explain. Certainly on the front end, sometimes Ticketmaster will have the exclusive right to sell tickets for an event. But sometimes, even in the resale space, they'll mandate that the resale has to happen through Ticketmaster. Well, we know how much of a problem scalping is, especially with bots and software, because sometimes there are companies that will buy up all the tickets within seconds or even minutes of them being released. So the general public doesn't even have the opportunity to buy those tickets either at pre-sale or during the initial offering. So they have to resort to going through these resellers. So all of a sudden you have Ticketmaster that's really doubling up, even though it's the initial purchase. It's not like the consumer bought the ticket and then changed his or her mind because they're no longer able to event. Their only opportunity is to purchase these resale tickets, which is particularly problematic.